Hey, everybody. I have a lot to talk with you about today, so let's just jump right in. Church, today we are living in a time of shaking, a time when God is allowing his church to be sifted, not destroyed, but to purify it. We have seen in these past few years what happens when the shaking comes. Leaders we once respected, men and women who stood in pulpits preaching the word have fallen. Not because they were weak, but because they thought they were strong enough to stand without vigilance. They forgot that the enemy never stops prowling, never stops whispering, never stops setting snares. And so one by one, some of our own have been caught. Some in secret sins that festered until they burst into the open. Some in moral failings that shattered marriages, ministries, and trust. The devastation has been great, but don't mistake it for the enemy's victory. No, this is God letting things be exposed that must be exposed, shaking what must be shaken, burning away what cannot remain so his church might stand firm in righteousness. See, it's easy to look at those who have fallen and think, that could never be me. But it would be a mistake to say that and believe that I am above such things. I know my own flesh. I know what I was capable of when I was so far from God. I was not even remotely sin-free. Thank God for mercy, grace, and forgiveness. See, I know the deceitfulness of sin. I know that the same enemy who took down mighty men of God would love nothing more than to see me stumble, to see my marriage break, to see my witness crumble into dust. That is why I must be vigilant. That is why every leader, every shepherd, every believer who carries the banner of Christ must tremble before the weight of this responsibility. We are not above temptation. We are not beyond the reach of sin, but we have a calling to be above reproach, not because we are perfect, but because we must refuse to let sin take root, because we must not give it a foothold, because we must not flirt with the edges of compromise, thinking we can dance with the fire and not be burned. God is calling his church to holiness. He is calling us, his shepherds, to stand as examples, not just in the pulpit, but in the secret places where no one sees but him. How we guard our eyes, our thoughts, our hearts, and our relationships will determine whether we stand or fall. The time for excuses is over. The time for hidden sins is over. The time for playing games with temptation is over. God is not mocked. Whatever a man sows, that will he also reap. And if we sow to the flesh, we will reap destruction. But if we sow to the Spirit, if we walk in the light as he is in the light, if we take every thought captive and put it to death, what is earthly in us, we will stand. Not because of our strength, but because of his. The shaking is not done. More will be exposed. More will fall. And if we are not watchful, if we do not cling to Jesus with everything we have, we too could be among them. We must be men and women who fear the Lord more than we fear losing influence. We must be shepherds who would rather die than dishonor his name. We must be warriors who do not lower our weapons, who do not let down our guard, who fight the battle for purity and integrity every single day because the King is coming. And when he does, he will not ask how many people sat under our preaching. He will not ask how many books we wrote or how many followers we gained or had. He will ask if we were faithful, if we were faithful, if we were pure, if we stood blameless before him, having washed our robes in his blood and kept ourselves unstained by the world. The shaking is here. The refining fire is burning, and we must decide, will we be consumed by it, or will we come out as pure as gold? Be vigilant, my fellow Christians. Be wary, but above all, be blessed. Love you guys.